It's time for the Daily Stand Up Podcast presented by Agile Dad with your host, Lee Henson. Without any further ado, let's get started. This next topic was by special request. I recently published a list of the top 5 books every Scrum Master should read. And someone asked me, I said, well, that's not fair. What about product owners? You need to give us a top 5 list too. So the more I thought about it, I said, touche. I can put together a list of the top 5 books that I would read as a product owner. Now, what's interesting is that some of these books are a little older and some of them are a little newer. And my hope is that through these, you will get some education. So the first one, pardon me, the first book is one that is less popular but more new. They have a book that was published by an up and coming agilist. And when I say up and coming, he's been around forever, but he really hasn't published books. His name is Michael J. Berry, and he published a book called The Stable Framework. And the subset is Operational Excellence for IT Operations, Implementation, DevOps, and Development. Now, what I can tell you is this is a technical book. This is going to blend a lot of operational excellence things. So you're probably wondering, why would a product owner want to read this? Well, if you wanted to get an overview quickly about Agile, Lean, quality management, operational excellence, all of those things combined, and you can learn more about how traditional project management, hybrid projects, Scrum, Safe, Discipline, Agile all work underneath this model. This is just a good way to really get your head around some of the hidden nuances within doing work. And it will show you some tools and some tips and tricks that, as a product owner, will help you understand why problems occur, why errors occur, why are there bottlenecks, why is there confusion. So it is a good book. It is at first a tough read, but what I can tell you is it's just a tough read because it's packed with good information. So I highly encourage you to take a look at it, dig in, and if you are in the IT sector, if you're in the technology sector, this is a great book for you as a product owner. Okay. Coming in at number 4 is Jeff Sutherland, Scrum, The Art of Doing Twice the Work in Half the Time. This book was also recommended on my Scrum Masters list, but I really do feel like this book, in essence, teaches you about the importance of not context switching, focusing on the things that really need to be done, and it helps you really get your head around what you can do to make a difference. And I think the thing I love the most about the book is it's got tons of engaging stories and real world examples of how Jeff has applied things. Now, what I can tell you is that Jeff is a mixed bag of tricks. Sometimes Jeff says things very succinct and to the point when further explanation could be necessary, or else people may misinterpret if they extrapolate, just a few words out of the 256-page book. But on other occasions, Jeff is very eloquent in the way he discloses stories and talks about things, and it really does make sense. So this is one of those books where it is 256 pages. It does get a lot accomplished in those 256 pages, but my thought is, wow, what a powerful book to help you as a product owner get your head around some of the real world application of how things flow, right? So while the first book was intended to give you a lot of theoretical how and what you should see from a nuanced perspective, this book gives you the real world application. Okay. Coming in at number 3. This one is a new book to the list. It is not on the Scrum Master list. This one is User Story Mapping by Jeff Patton. And what I can tell you is Jeff is a genius. Oh my gosh. I have known Jeff for a number of years, full transparency here. But this story mapping technique has been used at organizations all over the world to help with software development, to help with building things and understanding behavioral driven flow. There's just a lot of good information in this books. What I can tell you is, this book was not dull for a moment. It was definitely one of my favorite books, and one that I would strongly recommend for anyone who is in a product owner role. Which means coming in at number 2, here comes. It's Mike Cohn, but it's not the same book that I recommended in the Scrum Master list. This book is User Stories Applied. And it says for Agile software development, quote unquote, underneath. But what I can tell you is you could take some of these techniques that you learn in this book and you can apply them to non software development cycles as well. So this isn't just, hey, let's build software. This is, hey, let's build things correctly. And I think that Mike just really has cornered the market on writing user stories and getting user stories down and understanding it best and succeeding with Agile overall. He has been a pioneer in the Agile space. And what I can tell you is that this book would certainly drive a lot of value and would give people an opportunity to really dig in and understand how they can apply principles from user stories to anything that they're trying to build. And of course, the top of the heap, it shouldn't be a surprise, it's the same book that's on the other list, Essential Scrum by Ken Rubin. This book really does tell you, soup to nuts, cover to cover, the best ways that you can just get everything around the whole Scrum framework. And it's not just limited to Scrum, it talks about how to build things around Scrum. And I think it's got just the thing I love the most about it is it's brilliant. It's got tons of illustrations. It's a very visual learning experience. And, even Mike Cohn said that this book serves an indispensable guide helping teams choose among the billions of possible ways of implementing Scrum and finding one that leads to success. So, I mean, if the number two author said that about the number one author, that's probably a good thing, right? That's probably a very good idea. So there's been lots of good things said about this book. What I can say is it's definitely one of the best books out there. Now, I promised I would throw a bonus in here since that first book that I told you about, number 5 on the list, was more technical. If you want to pick up another book from Mike Cohn, Agile Estimating and Planning is not a bad one either, because that's going to help you as a product owner really learn how estimation frameworks work and how things are going to flow when teams go to estimate size and scope of work. It does talk a lot about planning poker, which, as you know, I tend to stay away from. But I think the overall concept of using t-shirt sizes, affinity-based estimation, grouping things, I think that you can really do a good job with that. And finally, if I had to throw one more little thing out here, this was published on O'Reilly. I think it was Todd Lombardo. They have a book called Product Roadmaps Relaunched. And what I can tell you is this book is interesting, but I didn't add it to my list because I feel like it's just a really short overview of, hey, this is how roadmaps work. So if you're in one of those situations where you're just trying to understand and get your head around a good roadmap, it's a good guide to pick up, but I don't necessarily know that I would call it enough information to be a full-on book. It's got good information, but it's just tight and easy to understand. Okay, so I hope that was a good list for you. I'm going to list all these in the description here so you can get to those. And if you have a topic you want us to cover, please let us know. We're happy to cover the topic that you want to talk about. And as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.